Just how fast do you need to be a great long jumper? We're going to take a look at that particular subject in this video. Where do you need to be fast? Is it 2 steps out from the board, 3 steps out from the board? How does a fly 20-meter time equate to takeoff velocity? Right, let's start at the beginning. Sprinting is not the same as run-up sprint work. The speed differentiation and how you optimize your speed to take off is what makes that run-up different. The speed you generate through a 20-meter fly is not the same as the speed coming in over the last 10 meters on a long jump run-up. It's all about optimum speed on the run-up. Very few long jumpers, if any, take off at 100% of their speed capacity because you have to slow down at least on the 3rd step, but most definitely on the 2nd step into the takeoff in order to prepare to take off. The penultimate step is invariably the longest of the 3 last steps, and it's the lowering of the center of mass which creates a slight deceleration into the takeoff. Let's take a look at the recent world champion, Ivana Vuleta, and the statistics I've got, which are from World Athletics, relate to her performance at the 2018 World Indoor Championship. Now, 3 steps out from the board, she was travelling at 9.77 meters a second at the penultimate 9.66, and she took off at 9.20 meters a second. Now, because the World Athletics report also provides the step lengths of the final 3 steps, I was able to calculate Vuleta's average velocity over 6 meters, or approximately 6 meters, and that's 9.54 meters a second. Incidentally, Vuleta jumped 6 meters 96 in winning the gold medal. I've also got some statistics from Quanisha Banks, and I think that's an interesting comparator, as unlike Vuleta, Quanisha actually accelerates into the 2nd step, the penultimate step. Her last 3 steps went 9.45 meters a second, 9.66 meters a second, and 9.17 meters a second at takeoff. So you can see that she accelerated quite significantly into the 2nd last step. However, despite that, her average over 6 meters was 9.47 meters a second, which was still significantly less than Vuleta's 9.54 meters a second. Quanisha jumped 6 meters 81 for 3rd place. On screen, you're seeing their step lengths, and you can see that Quanisha was very short in terms of her step lengths for the last 2 steps, and that potentially explains why there was greater speed coming into the takeoff, whereas Ivana's penultimate step was longer, enabling her to set and go into the board in a different position. However, in terms of ultimate resultant velocity, it didn't slow her down more than Burks. Now, I started the video by mentioning optimum versus maximum speed, and how that's different for sprinting and the run-up. What's also important, and is perhaps apparent from the statistics that I've provided on Ivana and Quanisha, is where that optimum speed occurs on the run-up. It needs to be in that final 6 meters. Now, I've got statistics from some of my jumpers, and I'm going to look at Leigh's recent performance in the British Outdoor Championships a few months back. Now, the recording of speed was slightly different at the British Championships in that the timing was taken over 11 to 6 meters out from the board and 6 meters to 1 meter out from the board. In the 2nd round, Leigh achieved her maximum speed across all 3 jumps of 9.23 meters a second. However, that was in the 11 to 6 meter segment out from the board. So this meant that she would be slowing into the takeoff. The fastest speed she achieved in the 6 to 1 meter section was 9.11 meters per second. So you can see that this was a lot slower than the velocities achieved via Ivana and Quanisha. So we need to work more on her speed potential and the ability to develop that speed across the final 3 steps, which is something that I see in many jumpers, in that they're slowing down too much into the takeoff. Now, I know that Leigh can achieve quicker speeds. circa 9.4 to 9.5 meters a second, as she has run 2.11 for a fly 20 meters, for example, and a calculation tells me that she can run about 9.4 to 9.5 meters a second. However, again, putting that into context, that's a flat out. It's not the same as running on the run-up. We've done experiments where we've tried to time the 10-meter section into the board and the 10 meters before that. Now, obviously, a run-up being about 36 meters is not going to provide the optimum velocity, the top speed that a fly 20 meters will. But it is interesting to look at speed distribution and as a way of teaching the jumper how they need to generate potentially greater speed earlier on in the run-up to try to handle that speed and develop that speed into the final stages. Might sound confusing that, but if a jumper, as in Leigh's case, is able to run at 9.4 to 9.5 meters a second, yet is only coming into the board at 9.11 meters a second, for example, then there's too big a discrepancy. Out of curiosity, I did a calculation to work out how fast 9.75 meters a second is over 20 meters, i.e. for Ivana's speed on the run-up. And that equates to around about 2.04 seconds for a fly 20 meters. Now, I would envisage that she can actually run faster due to the fact that she's operating on the run-up when that speed of 9.77 meters a second was achieved, and not with a fly 20 meters where, of course, you can just go flat out and not be worried at all about setting the jump up and preparing. So again, that contextualizes the type of speed that the elite female jumpers are able to generate on the run-up and away from the run-up. What I'm trying to do in this video is explain to you about the type of speed that you need to generate and where you need to generate it on the long jump run-up. Wherever possible, make sure you time your run-ups and also get more involved data, if you can, about where your maximum and optimum speeds are on the run-up. Also, look at how this relates to maximum fly and 10-meter times so that you can equate again as to whether or not you're utilizing enough of that speed that you've got and you're putting it in the right place on the run-up. This is why doing run-ups as your staple sprint as a long jumper and indeed as a triple jumper is crucial. Being able to get that optimized speed on the run-up in the right place is crucial. Well, I hope the information that I've provided in this video will help you and your run-up construction and speed orientation and indeed speed development. If you've any specific questions on the subject matter of this particular video or indeed any of my others, then do leave a comment in the section below or through my other social media. Please do subscribe to the channel. I know that over 60% of people who watch my videos don't actually subscribe, and it would be great if I could increase my subscriber count. It doesn't cost you anything, so please do click on the subscribe button.